All right, good morning again. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting integers. And if you've forgotten, in case you have, integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So that's just the category. You might remember we have natural numbers and rational numbers and irrational numbers and whole numbers and all that stuff. So integers are positive and negative whole numbers. Some examples of integers would be like -3. Listen, that is a negative whole number. Or how about another one? What about like 7? There's a whole number and it's positive. These are integers. Basically, you can't have fractions or decimals when we're dealing with integers. So -3, 7, those are integers. 10 is sure. What about -43? Oh, definitely, those are all integers. But wait a minute, what about -2 3/5? Well, see, that is not a whole number, therefore that is not an integer, and we're not dealing with them today, so forget that. We are only dealing with the positive and negative whole numbers. Now, you might remember, you've been taught some of these things. There are rules to go along with this, like sometimes you add and sometimes you subtract, but I'm gonna talk about those rules, but I'm going to talk more about money a little bit. That's because we all understand money, but we don't understand rules sometimes. So hopefully we can translate those. And if you're really good at this stuff, well then good for you. This should be really simple and your homework's going to be easy. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. All right, you should probably be taking some notes on this stuff so that you can look back on this. But I want you to think about we're going to start with adding, and I want you to think about money a little bit, okay? So here's what I want you to think about. You've probably borrowed money from somebody before, or maybe you are the lending type. Maybe you've lent money to somebody, but here's the deal. If it is a positive number, I want you to think that you have that money in your pocket, all right? But what if it is a negative number? If it is a negative number, then that means you owe that money to somebody. And if you want to think about it this way, you can owe me money. That's totally fine. So once again, if it's a positive number, you have money. If it's negative number, you owe money. So as an example, if I have a +5, which you might recall, we don't always just put the plus sign or the positive sign there. It's just a 5. That means you have $5 in your pocket. Congratulations, you're rich. But what if you have a -3? -3, that means you owe me some money. And when you owe somebody money, you better pay them. That's called being honest and being fair. So if you got $5 and you owe me $3, hey, wait a minute. What if I added those right now? What if I added those right now like this? I want you to think about it this way. You have $5 in your pocket. Picture it, $5. But you owe me 3. Now, you're going to give me my money because you are an honest and upfront type of person. 5 is what's in your pocket. You owe me 3. Give me my $3. Will you have money left over, or will you still owe me money? Well, if you have $5 and you owe me 3, doesn't that mean after giving me that $3, you still have 2? And since you have that money, it is a +2. We're going to do some more of those in a second. But basically what this led us to is to realize we need to actually subtract these. 5 minus 3 is 2. All right. All right, so let's do some examples. Now, I know there are official rules, but the truth is you need to be able to do some of this stuff in your head, and that's because when you're sitting in a high school math class and it starts going fast, you need to be able to keep up. So let's just try to do a couple of these, all right? So let's do an easy one. This is going to be kind of dumb. Watch. 2 plus 4. I know. There isn't even a negative number in there, but they are integers. These are integers, positive and negative whole numbers. But look, so do you have $2 or do you owe me $2? Since it's positive, you've got $2. What about the $4? Do you have $4 or do you owe me $4? You've got 4. So you have $2, you have $4, and that means you should be adding these together, and it looks like you have $6. And when you have it, of course, it stays positive. See, we're thinking about money. If we think about money, this is going to go a lot easier. Watch, how about this one? A -10 and +15. Now look, which one of these do you owe me? Do you owe me 10 or do you owe me 15? Well, since this is negative, you owe me $10. Now, truly, you should probably stop borrowing money from me because that's not responsible financial practices, but that's okay. We'll get to that later. Now, 15 bucks is positive because this sign belongs to that, and you have that $15. So you have $15 in your pocket. Congratulations. And you owe me 10. Well, you know you have to pay me. So you had 15, you owe me 10, give me my $10. How much do you have left? Well, you should have $5 left. And since you have $5, it's going to be positive. Do you have to put that positive sign there? You do not. But do you see what happens? The rules say if I have a positive and a negative that I subtract. And that's true. 15 minus 10 is 5. But if we think about money, we just understand that we subtract it. That's what I'm going for. All right, how about another example? Let's take a look at these here. This is a negative 12. By now, you should be able to do this in your brain. You should be thinking, I owe somebody $12. So here you owe $12. And don't you owe somebody else $8? Maybe it's me. Seriously, you got to stop borrowing so much money. But nonetheless, you owe me 12 and you owe me 8. Should we add that or do we subtract it? If you owe me 12 and you owe me 8, it seems like you should be adding that, and you're going to owe me $20. And if you owe, it's a negative, boom, just like that. Telling you, seriously, think about this with money. It gets a lot easier. What's the rule? The rule is if they have the same sign, you just add them, which is what we did. 12 and 8, then you keep the sign. That's the rule. But again, we're trying to get to where you can do this stuff in your head. All right, what about this one right here? What about a 20 plus a negative 16 like this? All right, well, it looks like this 20 is positive, so I have $20. This 16 is negative, so I owe it. Let's just do it in our head. You owe me 16, give me my money. You have 20. Don't you have more than you owe? You have 20 bucks, you only owe 16. So it seems like after you give me my money, you should have some money left over. How much would you have? Well, 20 minus 16 is 4. There's the rule, right? This is positive, this is negative. They're opposite signs. And then they have opposite signs you're supposed to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number, which is what we did. But see, I'm trying to get you to do this in your head and understand it intuitively, thinking about money. So there we go. Okay, let's talk for a second about subtracting. When we subtract, do we actually ever subtract? Well, no, not really. We're going to turn that subtraction into addition. Look, we are taking subtraction and changing it into addition by adding the opposite. What does that mean? Well, opposites are pluses and minuses, okay? So like if I have positive 4, then what's the opposite of positive 4? It's negative 4. So when I talk about adding the opposite, it's just a plus or a minus sign that gets changed like this. Take a look at this for a second. Let me just erase this quickly. Let's do an example about how we're going to add the opposite. So number 1, what about we do like 3 minus 5? Okay, look. This is a subtraction sign, and I want to make sure that it turns into an addition sign. So I'm going to add the opposite of 5. Well, what's the opposite of 5? Negative 5. There we go. So I turn that into addition, and I change that to the opposite. And now we get to think about money. See, it all comes back to money. Look, I have $3 right here, but you owe $5. So you have $3 in your pocket. Picture it. You have $3, but you owe me 5. Now you want to give me the $5 because, again, you are an honest person. But do you have enough to give me my $5 that you owe me? You don't. You only have $3 now. Since you're so honest, you're going to give me that $3 anyway. So give me the $3, but don't you still owe me a little bit more? You do. How much will you owe me? 2. And remember, if it's owing, that it's a negative. So you still owe me 2. Now, I want to remind you, what do the rules say? The rules say if they have opposite signs, which they do, that's positive, that's negative. You subtract them. 5 minus 3 is 2. Then you keep the sign of the bigger number. That's the rule, but I'm just trying to get you to think of this intuitively. You got $3, you owe me 5, give me my $3, you still owe me 2. Watch, let's check another one. Watch, how about this one? What about this? Negative 7 minus a negative 10. Now I'm just going to put this in parentheses, and we do that just to separate these two negative signs. A subtraction sign is actually a negative sign, and it can be thought of that way. But remember, we never actually subtract. We add the opposite. Here's the subtraction sign. Let's change it to add. And we have to add the opposite of this number. What is the opposite of negative 10? It is positive 10. Now we're back to money. Let's talk about money. You owe me $7 and you have $10. All right, awesome. You owe me 7 and you have 10. Okay, well, let's see. You got $10 in your pocket. You owe me 7. Being honest, you're going to give me my $7. Do you have money left over? You do. How much do you have left over? 3. And since you have money left over, it's positive. See, this is easy when we talk about money like this. What do the rules say? Once again, the rule says if we have opposite signs, then we subtract them and we keep the sign of the bigger number. 10 minus 7 is 3, and the bigger number is positive, so it's positive. So that's what we're doing today, all right? And I think that you got this. Let's do a couple more examples. All right, check this example out. What? It's got 3 numbers. What are we going to do with 3 numbers? We could just hide our heads and cry. We could do that, but we're not going to, not today. We're just going to move left to right. So we're going to deal with this one. We're going to just ignore that one for a minute, okay? Let's just deal with this. Well, 18 minus 6. Do I really need to add the opposite for 18 minus 6? It seems like you should be able to do 18 minus 6. I think 18 minus 6 is 12. So I'm going to bring that down like this. And of course, I'm going to rewrite this. This comes down. I'm going to bring these parentheses down like this. And do I expect you to rewrite it like that? I do. Part of being good in math is being organized. Now let's deal with this. But wait, look, we have 2 negatives there. Let's add the opposite. Let's make this addition. And let's make this, again, the opposite of negative 10. I think I did a problem just a second ago like that. Is positive 10. And now what? Let's talk about money. Do you have $12 or do you owe $12? You have it. This is a have. Do you have $10 or owe $10? You have it. Look, I got $12 in one pocket. I got $10 in the other pocket. Looks like I got $22. Bam. That's how we're going to do problems. Even when there's 3 things like that, you just move left to right. That is the order of operations. Listen, I'm not lying to you when I tell you being able to do this stuff quickly and in your head and efficiently is really going to help you understand the next 4 years of math. Did I say 4 years of math? I did. You're going to be in math for a while. So let's get good at this stuff right now, starting today. I appreciate you guys watching, and let's get that homework done, all right? All right, see ya.